Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is it. This is the big one. Manchester United hosting Rangers in the Europa League. Joining me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Joe Smith.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Very well, thank you.
Do you have a feeling, an emotion towards Rangers that some of us have?
Not hugely. I know there is I think particularly for the Man United fans based in Manchester, there's a little negativity towards Rangers after what happened in 2008, isn't there?
Yeah, good. I'm glad you brought it up, because cast your mind back. 2008, Manchester United just won the Champions League, following on from our Premier League win as well.
At that time, no other Premier League team had ever done that.
Other than us.
Yeah.
And it was a momentous occasion. We were looking forward to a nice parade to get our teeth into. Unfortunately, Rangers fans had wrecked the city centre following I think it was the UEFA Cup defeat the previous week or whatever it was. So the GMP, Great Manchester Police, said, you're not having a parade. So there is a little bit of
and they really did a number on the city.
Yeah, they did. They smashed it up. But it was also ludicrous that GMP thought United fans were going to do that, because obviously we wouldn't have. We would have celebrated like we did in 1999, as the song goes. But anyway, we move on. Let's talk about this game. A big talking point, and we are recording this before any press conference, any updates have gone out, just to make you aware, is the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So by the time you watch this, Ruben Amorim might have said, well, this is what's happening with the goalkeeper, but we don't know what's going on yet. Bayindir had a good game against Arsenal, I think it's safe to say. Bit of a ropey moment, but he made up for it with, was it 2 penalty saves in the end?
There was some small bad moments and some very good moments.
Yeah, I like that.
Which kind of overall made it a good performance.
Yeah, which he needed after the shambolic performance against Spurs. Andre Onana, and I blame you for this personally, Joseph. Since you did a video saying how good he was, his form has been horrendous. So I think it's all your fault. You personally are to blame. Because it was a couple of months ago, wasn't it, that we were talking about Andre Onana, and I said it myself, how we wouldn't swap him for anyone, and now we're almost at the point where you'd swap him for anyone, because he's just been... He's been pretty bad. And the game against Brighton, we saw him make a catastrophic error. I mean, where do you stand on it? We'll get to predicted 11s later, but do you think there is a case for the managers to say, look, it's time to not just rotate, but maybe give Bayindir a chance? Because rotating is different. If you go, you're my cup keeper, you're coming in just for this game. But do you think there is a case to be made that Onana should be dropped, or do you think it's a bit too much?
Not yet for me.
Okay.
I think that he, like you said, he might well play this game, Bayindir, as the cup keeper. But I do think that you have to look at the bigger picture with Onana. And unfortunately, people might want to think that the only thing that matters is how you play. He cost us 50 million quid. So if we are to move on from him and decide it didn't work, he isn't the right man, the right man for the job, you'll get maybe 30% more from him in the transfer window if he was at least your first choice keeper till the point you decided to get rid of him. If we drop him now and Bayindir comes in and let's say plays well, you probably only get 15, 20 million for Onana. If he plays to the end of the season and we go, well, I'm not sure, you might get 30, 35 million from him, because he's still a very good keeper with his feet. I know he's made a couple of mistakes on that front, but compared to the average goalkeeper, he's definitely one of the better ball-playing keepers. And I'm not saying I think we should sell him or whatever, but I'm just thinking you can't really drop your £50 million starting goalkeeper that easily. And football should maybe be a bit more just about what you do on the pitch, but it isn't. And I also think that Onana does have the capability to be a top goalkeeper. His shot-stopping percentages in the Premier League are still good. He still saves and stops a lot of goals, and when he's playing well, he's one of the best on that front. The problem is these massive howlers. It's not like he's just an overall sort of average keeper and you go, oh, maybe you should have saved that, I'm not sure. It's like you either go, I don't know how he's done that, this double save is amazing, or that ball through is unbelievable, or you go in, what is he playing at?
Yeah.
Like he literally just drops the ball to the Brighton player. He did, letting the ball past him when it just shouldn't happen, passing the ball straight to the opposition. These are the things that are like huge clangers, and that's the problem. He's not a poor keeper. He's either very good or terrible, and that's sort of a worry, because if he's going to cost us big games and big moments, then obviously it can't last. But I do think, we've got so many issues. No wonder he's kind of succumbing to it a little bit. But yeah, it's not good enough for him at the minute. Definitely not.
No, it isn't. I agree with everything you said, and I think that the one saving grace for the mistakes is they've been in the league where they almost don't matter at the minute. We're that far away from anything. As long as we're not going to get relegated, it's almost like okay, it's a bit of a nothingness. I know it always matters that you want to win, and I'm not saying Manchester United shouldn't be trying to win football matches. I'm saying, had he made that mistake against Brighton, had he played against Arsenal and done that, we'd be out of the FA Cup now.
Yeah.
Whereas, obviously, he's done it in a league game, so it's not the same. Let's talk about expectations then, because the Europa League, it is our only avenue into the Champions League next season.
Yeah.
We know that. We ain't going to get top 4. That is done. And I don't know if it's mathematically impossible, but let's be honest, we're just not going to do that. We've had a bit of a mixed bag in it this season. Yeah. Started off with a load of draws. We've had some wins. Just sum up so far what you've made of United's Europa campaign and what your expectations are.
So we're undefeated still, aren't we? So I think we've drawn 3, won 4, something like that. Or drawn 4-1-3, I can't remember exactly, but we're in 7th position, which means we're in that kind of automatically through to the next round. You won't have to play that extra qualifying round stuff, which is where we wanted to be. So weirdly, even though we've had some shocking performances at times, we're actually pretty much on track. And if we can win this game, then all of a sudden we're on for a sort of a decent spell. It's actually 3 wins, 3 draws. So we're actually doing quite well, even though it feels like it's been terrible and we were making jokes about being 21st and all that a couple of games ago. You win a couple of games in this format and all of a sudden you're straight through. But the expectations for the season have to completely change now, because the league, like you said, is just a shambles.
Yeah.
And almost you're using league games to experiment with different players, different ideas, cementing certain things they do in training. These are the most important games. And at the start of the season and last year, we always have this debate, would you rather be in the Europa League or nothing? Yeah. I'm glad we're in it now, because this is not only the most exciting games, the best chance we've ever been a European football team next season. It's also our only chance at silverware, I mean, other than the FA Cup. So these become really big games, and now all of a sudden it's the league that basically doesn't matter.
Not to interrupt you, but this is an probably easier option of getting, or an easier route to silverware than the FA Cup, I'd say, because no disrespect to the teams that are in this competition, but you look at the FA Cup, you've got some of the best teams in Europe in that competition. I know they're English, but they're still some of the best teams in Europe. I don't feel like you've got that, if we're being brutally honest, with the teams here, although there are some good sides. So I think
United are joint favourites. I don't know if this has changed now after their recent results, but United and Tottenham were the 2 favourites for this competition, which gives you a flavour of the standard. There's Lazio, there's Atletico, there's a few others. I think Ajax is still in there as well. So it's not like dead easy, but it's basically the lesser teams in Europe playing against each other, and we should be at least up there in that kind of competition.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just before we get into predicted 11s, don't forget, get your phones out, film yourself in landscape, for 30 seconds, and give us your score predictions and send it to paddockmatchday@gmail.com, and you can be part of Stretford Paddock. You can be part of the build-up to the watch-along, and who knows, we might even end up getting you in the studio. That's happened in the past.
Happened recently.
Yeah, happened recently. Tyler came in, she'd been sending us predictions, and we got her on the preview. Good stuff. Let's talk about predicted 11s then. We'll start with yours, Joe. Talk us through who you've gone with. Again, I don't want to sort of labour the point, but this is before we're recording this before the press conference, so we're going off what we think will be the manager's predicted 11 without having that presser.
I've gone pretty much full strength. The only changes I've taken, Mainu out, because I think he could do with a little bit of a break, and also we've got Casemiro there. These are the sorts of games where you could do with him. Do you know where? I know he's not got the legs, but you can put him next to Ugarte, which I have. He does have quality. He can get the ball in the final third. He can play the ball through the lines occasionally. And with Højlund, who I've got up front as well, I think we could do with something like that. I have gone with Onana. That one is literally a toss of a coin. Will he go with Bayindir as the cup keeper, or will he stick with Onana? I'm not sure. But other than that, I think we need to go strong, because like I said, this is our basically most important competition now. If we want to get Champions League football, this is our only chance. So basically full strength side, except I've brought Casemiro in.
Very much Jose Mourinho in the 2016-17 season, aren't we? It feels like all the eggs are in the Europa League basket.
What you got?
Not that dissimilar, although there are changes or differences. I've gone with Bayindir. I don't know what the availability is like of someone. I feel like he might give Evans a start. We need someone to come in. I know you've brought in Martinez, but I just feel like, is he going to give some more players a rest? Does Martinez get an extra week? Collier's coming in for Mainu. I agree, Mainu looked a bit leggy against Brighton. So did Ugarte, to be fair. I mean, we've not got many options, have we? For whatever reason, he just doesn't seem to fancy Casemiro. I know you're saying, look, we need to rotate. Surely Casemiro can play in this game. But we'll wait and see. I've stuck with Joshua Zirkzee up top. I like Joshua Zirkzee. I like what I've seen from him. I think just from a pure sort of watching a footballer point of view, he does a good job. Yes, he doesn't get you many goals, but neither does Rasmus Højlund. And at times, Rasmus Højlund looks a little bit lost. Xerxes at least looks comfortable on the ball in the last few games and has played his part as well. I know he didn't obviously score against Brighton, but he won us the penalty. And I think there's a player there still. Look, I know he got some unfair criticism and booed and all the rest of it, but he's shown a bit of resolve, and it isn't just the fact that he got booed, so I think he should start games. I think he's shown enough when he's been on the pitch to get the nod in this game. So I think he deserves to start, but we'll wait and see what happens. Let us know, like I said earlier, your predicted 11s. Let's talk about Rangers. I don't want to go too much into them, but I think the second, aren't they, in the Scottish Premier League? They're not that far off us, or similar position to us in the Europa League. I mean, look, with all due respect to Rangers, this is a game that even if they turn up, if we turn up, we win this. And I spoke to a Rangers podcast earlier this week, and they more or less admit the same thing. There's a chance this is probably the best time ever to play Manchester United, but if Manchester United turn up, we should be too strong for Rangers, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should do. I think, aren't they a bit of a distant second in...
Yeah, they are distant second to Celtic. I know they got a good result against Celtic not that long ago, but they are.
They're all right. They're not that good a team. I do think there will be something in the whole... There has been this kind of like invisible rivalry building after that whole Manchester thing. I think it's like, it's known to United fans, it's known to Rangers fans. And have we played them since?
I think we played him, didn't we, when Tony Valencia had his injury. I was at that game, the 0-0, and then there was I didn't go to the one at Ibrox, but I went to the one at Old Trafford where Valencia got that horrific injury, which wasn't deliberate. It wasn't like part of the act.
Yeah, it does feel like there's something there that will add a little element to Rangers. And if the truth is, if they come and they press us and they push high and they try and win the ball back of us as we're playing out, they'll have success. Because Southampton did, Bournemouth did, Brighton did, Brentford did. Like, I know some of those teams, or most of the teams, are a lot better than Rangers, but this Southampton side isn't that much better than them. And they literally ran us ragged for 70 minutes the other day.
I'm going to ask you, I agree with what you've just said there. I'm going to ask you the score prediction. I'm going to ask you in a different way. Do you expect to hear the Rangers fans singing, just like Glasgow, your city is blue? How likely is that going to happen?
I think they'll probably sing it for a bit when they're winning.
There you go.
And then we'll come back and we'll beat them.
All right, okay.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Man United. But they'll score first, and we'll need them to score to encourage us to play well, which is embarrassing, but I do think it's the case. I
just can't see. And I mean, I've been quite pessimistic at times this season, and rightly so. I just think we've got to beat Rangers. I know they got a result, didn't they? Was it Spurs they drew with not that long ago? But I think that was at Ibrox. I mean, we should be beating Rangers. We have to have a reaction. The manager, Ruben Amorim, has done everything he can to motivate and rally these troops, and he's now gone from the carrot to the stick. He started smashing tellies and telling them they're all rubbish. Yeah. Like, if they don't give him a response, I'm scared he might end up quitting. I'm joking, by the way.
I think he might.
I want to go with something similar to yourself. I'll go 1-0. I know we don't keep many clean sheets. I think it might be a bit scrappy, but we'll get a goal. Maybe Amad Diallo gets a goal against his former Loney club. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know your score prediction. Joe, always a pleasure, never a chore. Go and check him out on the Sloppy Joe's podcast. Don't forget as well to send us your score predictions to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. That's been Joe. I'm Jay. This has been a preview of Manchester United's game against Rangers in the Europa League. Thanks for watching.